If you are over 60, there is one fruit you should be eating every single morning. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why your kidneys respond to it the way they do. But stay with me, because the third point I share is the one almost everybody gets completely wrong. And it is the reason most people never see any benefit at all. Let me start with something that surprises people. Your kidneys are two organs. Each one is about the size of your fist. And every single day, they filter roughly 180 liters of blood. That is not a mistake. 180 liters. Every day, quietly, without you ever noticing. They pull out waste, they balance your minerals, they manage your fluid levels. They even help control your blood pressure. Now let me show you how that actually works, because once you understand the mechanism, everything else in this video makes sense. Inside each kidney, there are roughly 1 million tiny filtering units. They are called nephrons. Each nephron is a microscopic filter. Blood enters under pressure. Water and small molecules pass through. Blood cells and proteins are too large, so they stay behind. What passes through is essentially raw filtrate. And then something remarkable happens. Your kidneys reclaim almost all of it. The water, the sodium, the glucose, the useful minerals, they pull it back into the bloodstream because your body needs those things. What is left behind is waste, and the main one is urea. Urea is what your body produces when it breaks down protein. It is a normal byproduct. Every time you eat chicken, fish, eggs, beans, your body makes urea. It is unavoidable, but urea has to leave. If it builds up in the blood, it becomes toxic. Your kidneys also clear out excess sodium, excess potassium, excess acid, excess water. Notice the word I keep using, excess. Your kidneys are not simply removing bad things, they are maintaining balance, keeping every value in a narrow, safe range. Minute by minute, all day, all night, without instruction, out of that 180 liters of filtrate. Only about 1.5 to 2 liters actually leaves your body as urine. Everything else is reclaimed. That is an extraordinary level of precision. And here is the part that matters after 60. Kidney function naturally declines with age. It begins somewhere in your 30s. It is very gradual, but by the time you reach 60, most people have lost a meaningful amount of filtering capacity. Some of those nephrons simply stop working. And here is the critical detail. Nephrons do not regenerate. Once one is gone, it is gone. The remaining nephrons take on more of the workload. That is a healthy adaptation. But it also means less reserve, less margin. Now, that is normal. That is not disease. That is simply how the body ages. But it does mean one thing. It means the choices you make every morning matter more now than they did at 40. Because your kidneys have less room to absorb a bad habit without showing it. And most people have no idea any of this is happening. That is the real problem with kidneys. They do not complain. They do not ache. They do not send warning signals the way a bad knee or a sore back does. You can lose a significant amount of kidney function and feel absolutely fine. Usually, the first time anybody finds out is on a routine blood test. A number comes back slightly off, and suddenly they are being told to pay attention to something they never once thought about. So let us change that today. Let us be proactive instead of reactive. Which brings me to the fruit. Watermelon. Now, I know that might sound too simple, too ordinary. You were probably expecting something exotic, something expensive, something with a name you cannot pronounce. But that is exactly why this works, because you will actually eat it. Let me explain what is going on here. Watermelon is about 92% water, and that number matters enormously for kidney function. For one straightforward reason, your kidneys need fluid to do their job. That is the entire mechanism. They filter waste out of your blood and flush it out through urine. And urine needs water. When you are underhydrated, your urine becomes concentrated. Waste products sit at higher concentrations. and your kidneys have to work harder to move the same amount of material. Here is what most people do not realize about getting older. Your sense of thirst gets weaker with age. This is well documented. An older adult can be genuinely underhydrated and simply not feel thirsty about it. So the ordinary signal that tells you to drink water becomes unreliable. At exactly the age when hydration matters most. That is why food with high water content is so useful after 60. It gets fluid into you without relying on a thirst signal that is no longer trustworthy. A single cup of watermelon delivers around 130 grams of water. Have 2 cups with your breakfast and you have added roughly a glass of water to your morning, without drinking a thing. But hydration is only the first layer. Watermelon also contains potassium, and potassium is one of the minerals your kidneys use to regulate fluid balance and support healthy blood pressure. And blood pressure is central to this entire conversation. High blood pressure is one of the leading causes of kidney damage worldwide. Your kidneys are full of tiny, delicate blood vessels. Sustained high pressure damages those vessels over time. Damaged vessels filter less effectively, and declining kidney function can itself push blood pressure higher. It becomes a loop, each side feeding the other. Supporting healthy blood pressure is therefore one of the most direct things you can do for your kidneys. Now I need to pause here, because this next part is important. If you have already been diagnosed with kidney disease, your doctor may have specifically told you to limit potassium. That advice is real, and it applies to you. When kidney function is significantly reduced, the kidneys can no longer clear excess potassium efficiently, and it can build up in the blood. That is a genuine medical concern. So if that is your situation, please do not take general advice from a video, including this one. Talk to your doctor about whether watermelon fits your specific plan. Everything I am saying today is for people with generally healthy kidneys who want to keep them that way. Now, before I get to the timing, let me tell you what you are actually protecting your kidneys from, because this puts everything in context. There are 4 main things that put strain on kidney function over time. The first is chronic dehydration, not dramatic dehydration. Not the kind that lands you in hospital. The quiet kind. Slightly under most days for years. When fluid is consistently low, your kidneys work with more concentrated filtrate. They have to work harder to clear the same waste. Over decades, that adds up. The second is sustained high sodium intake. Sodium and fluid balance are directly linked. When sodium is high, your body holds more water to dilute it. That raises blood volume. Higher blood volume means higher blood pressure, and higher blood pressure means more strain on those delicate vessels inside the kidneys. Most of the sodium people eat does not come from the salt shaker. It comes from packaged bread, canned soup, processed meat, sauces, and restaurant food. That is where it hides. The third is uncontrolled blood pressure. I have already explained the loop, but it is worth stating plainly. High blood pressure is one of the 2 leading causes of kidney failure in the developed world, and the 4th is uncontrolled blood sugar. This is the other leading cause. Persistently high blood sugar damages small blood vessels throughout the body, the eyes, the nerves in the feet, and the nephrons in the kidneys. Now, look at that list again. Dehydration, sodium, blood pressure, blood sugar. Do you notice something? Every single one of them is influenced by daily habits, not by dramatic interventions, by what you do on an ordinary Tuesday morning. That is the whole point of this video. All right, let me get to the third point, the one I told you people get wrong. Timing. Most people eat watermelon in the evening. It is a dessert. It is what you have after dinner on a warm night. That is the habit almost everywhere. And that habit works against you in 2 separate ways. First, the obvious one. Watermelon is mostly water and it moves through you fairly quickly. Eat a large bowl at 9 at night and you are considerably more likely to be awake at 2 in the morning walking to the bathroom. Now, broken sleep is not just an inconvenience. Poor sleep is associated with higher blood pressure. And we just covered why blood pressure matters here. So the evening habit quietly undermines the very thing you are trying to support. Second, and this is the part almost nobody thinks about, you have gone 7 or 8 hours overnight without any fluid at all. You wake up in a mildly dehydrated state every single morning. That is simply what happens during sleep. So the morning is precisely when added fluid does the most good. Your body has been running on empty, and you are giving it something to work with right at the moment it needs it. Evening watermelon gives your body water at the point where it is least useful and most disruptive. Morning watermelon gives it water at the point of greatest benefit. Same fruit, same amount, completely different effect, purely because of when you eat it. That is why the timing point matters more than the fruit itself. So let me give you the practical version. 2 cups, roughly 300 grams, cubed, with breakfast or shortly after. Not instead of breakfast, alongside it. Watermelon on its own will not hold you until lunch, and if you are hungry by 10, you will reach for something worse. Pair it with protein, eggs, yogurt, a handful of nuts. The protein slows digestion and keeps blood sugar steadier than fruit alone. That last point matters, especially if you are managing blood sugar. Watermelon has a high glycemic index but a low glycemic load, because there is so much water in it relative to sugar. Still, if you are diabetic, keep the portion moderate and always pair it with protein or fat. Do not eat it alone on an empty stomach. Now let me help you actually buy a good one, because a poor watermelon will put you off the habit entirely. Look for the field spot. That is the pale patch on the underside where the melon rested on the ground. You want it creamy yellow, not white. A white patch means it was picked early. Pick it up. A ripe watermelon feels heavy for its size. That weight is water, which is exactly what you are after. Tap it. A ripe one sounds deep and hollow. An underripe one sounds dull and flat. And look at the skin. You want a dull, matte surface. A shiny watermelon is usually underripe. Buy it whole when you can. Pre-cut watermelon loses nutrients sitting in the case. It costs considerably more for less. And you have no way of knowing how long it has been there. Once you cut it, cube it, and store it in a sealed container in the fridge. It keeps well for 3 to 4 days. After that, the texture goes soft. Here is what makes this a habit rather than a chore. Cut the whole melon on Sunday. Cube it. 2 containers in the fridge. Then every morning that week it is already done. No preparation. No decision to make. That is the difference between something you do twice and something you do for years. For breakfast, keep it simple. 2 scrambled eggs and a bowl of watermelon. Or plain Greek yogurt with watermelon cubes and a few chopped walnuts. Or watermelon alongside whatever you already eat. You do not need to redesign your breakfast. You are adding one thing. Now let me add 2 habits that work alongside this. The first one is water itself. Watermelon is a supplement to hydration, not a replacement for it. Aim for 6 to 8 glasses of water across the day. Spread out rather than all at once. And here is a small change that makes a real difference. Front load your fluid. Drink most of it before 6 in the evening. You get the hydration your kidneys need without paying for it with a broken night. The second habit is movement. 10 minutes of gentle walking after breakfast. That is all. Walking supports circulation, which means better blood flow reaching your kidneys. It helps with blood pressure. It helps with blood sugar. And after 60, a short walk after eating is one of the highest return things you can do. For very little effort, you do not need to walk fast. You do not need to walk far. You need to walk regularly. So let me pull all of this together. Point 1. Your kidneys filter enormous volumes of blood every day through 1 million tiny nephrons that do not regenerate. Capacity declines gradually with age. That is normal, but it means your daily habits carry more weight after 60 than they used to. Point 2. Watermelon supports that work, primarily through water content, with potassium contributing to fluid balance and healthy blood pressure. 2 cups is the practical amount. Point 3. the one people get wrong. Eat it in the morning, not the evening. Morning fluid meets a body that has gone all night without any. Evening fluid disrupts your sleep and works against your blood pressure. And then the two supporting habits, 6 to 8 glasses of water, front-loaded before evening, and 10 minutes of walking after breakfast. None of this is dramatic. None of it is a cure. Nothing you eat reverses kidney damage. And anyone telling you otherwise is selling something. What this is support. Small, repeatable, sustainable support. For organs that are quietly doing extraordinary work for you every single day. And asking for very little in return. One last thing before you go. Please talk to your doctor before making changes. Particularly if you have any diagnosed kidney condition. If you are on blood pressure medication. Or if you have been told to watch your potassium. I am giving general information here. Your doctor knows your actual numbers. That is a difference that matters. If this was useful, the next video covers 3 common morning drinks that work directly against everything we just discussed. Most people have at least one of them every day without thinking about it. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself.